It's hard to believe, but it is. It gets close to 10 million people per year. They have all the boats there, they have the ticket offices, they have the people that want to be on the lakefront. If only 10% of the people that visit Navy Pier got on a boat or took their car and came down here, only 10%, it would be the largest drawing presidential library ever. Only 10%. So, with that, Alderman Holmes, may I ask you to address the council?
Okay, so you know we're in the 7th ward, so you know you have to repeat after me. I am 7.
I am 7.
You are 7.
You are 7.
We are 7.
We are 7.
And we want that library. My remarks are going to be brief, but obviously this is a great opportunity, not only for the city, but definitely for the southeast side and for the 7th ward. I was just speaking with a young lady, and she was asking me what the name of the place where the library would be located, and I was like, it's some point, but it's the most eastern point you can get to on the south side and look back at the city. Right now we have Rainbow Park and Beach, which has awesome views to downtown, but this is an even more eastern point where you can see and reflect on downtown Chicago, and also taking some of the history of what Chicago means in this country as a part of the Industrial Revolution. And so bringing the Presidential Library to Lakeside is not only making the southeast side of Chicago a national destination, it makes it an international destination. And as I've had conversations earlier this evening, you know, we should be reminded of what was shown in this video is that President Obama's early beginnings started by helping retrain steel mill workers in the light of the fact that these steel mill plants were going to be closing. So his very humble beginnings should be turned back to where they started to show that the great things that can happen when you work hard and put your mind towards something and what you're really trying to do is help people. And so what I really like for everyone to do here is they have handouts out front. And I've actually written 2 or 3 letters, and I probably wasn't supposed to, but I've written 2 or 3 letters to the Barack Obama Library Foundation about this site and what it means for our community, economically, educationally, and for us having a cultural destination in our community. We cannot let something as valuable as this go. This is the place where it should go in Chicago. This is the destiny for the library. So I want everyone to take a flyer. If you haven't got one, they have them out front and we can start passing them around. There is an address on the bottom where you can send letters. You can call my office, 773-731-7777, and we have templates available for you. If you want to write a letter and you need a template, you can call my office and get a template. Because we want to make sure that it's not about just myself and Alderman Pope or Lakeside just advocating for this. We as a community have to advocate for this and show how important it is. The steel mills along Lake Michigan are something that are of great importance to our history in this country. And we shouldn't let that history be lost. And President Obama coming in his young early days to advocate and work with steel mill workers to find them other opportunities shows his interest in willing and wanting to make sure that people were able to have jobs to be able to sustain their families. And now we have a great new opportunity to rebuild this area under those same premises so that we can improve ourselves economically, so that we can improve our workforce, so that we can have jobs right in our community. So I'm just asking for your support with this, and you know, we're here to answer questions. So, Alderman Pope.
Thank you, Alderman Holmes, and thank you, Dan McCaffrey and his team. That video says it all. And to me, this is the only choice. And I'm not saying that because it's in the 10th ward, because it's not. I'm saying that because it makes the most sense. Inspiration point. That says it all. I think about a library, a place you recreate, you learn, you grow. And what better chance for a library to help a community, a city, a region grow than Lakeside. With all due respect to those other sites that are in contention for this, they do not offer the opportunity that this site does. This site will allow for this to be a magnificent structure and a magnificent destination, but just as Alderman Holmes said, a chance to reinvigorate the neighborhood, to provide the economic development, to provide the type of destination that we on the south side need. I, for a long time, talked about this library, how it would be a continuation of what we have along the lakefront. Dan mentioned A.B. Pier. We have the planetarium. A little further south, we have the Museum of Science and Industry. But I'm sorry, folks, the city doesn't stop at the Museum of the Science and Industry. There's a whole other beautiful world right down here, and this is a chance for us to anchor it with the library. It makes the most sense. We need everyone to get involved, become passionate, and speak on behalf of this. It's got to come to Chicago. It's got to come here. I fully support this, even though it's not an intent board, because it benefits all of us. It makes the most sense. Please join us in trying to make this a reality. We deserve it down there. Thank you.
I'd just like to acknowledge Mr. Jordan. He's the principal here. He allowed us to use this facility, so thank you, Mr. Jordan, for allowing us to use it. And the other thing about Powell, and this is an example of what can happen. I was on the LSC of Powell across the street, and one of my fellow LSC members, I don't know where she is right now. Oh, there she is. When I was on the LSC, and we fought to get this school built here, and you'll know this is the only school in the city of Chicago where students can sit back and look outside of their windows and see the lake. And we should be proud of that fact that we have this facility, in our neighborhood, and we should advocate that we have other facilities like this in the neighborhood. As Alderman Pope just mentioned, the city doesn't stop at 57th Street. When you look at some of those Rand McNally maps, when you come in, you're a visitor, it does stop there. And what I always tell people is when you go past 57th Street, you have 3 boat harbors, you have 2 golf courses, you have the only beach in the city where you can actually see the skyline. So there's a lot to offer down here, and it's about making this national presence known to everyone. So.
I was asked earlier to comment just quickly on, okay, if the library comes here, what else? We do have a little plan now. I'm just sharing it with you. It's part of the dream. You got a dream to make a vision come true, and I'm dreaming on this one. But I was in South Korea, and you guys have heard, I think, of Incheon. It's the place where MacArthur came ashore, and it was a mud flats. They've raised the mud flats. They've raised them 10 or 12 feet, and now they're land. One of the beautiful things they did there is they have a very proud tradition of education in South Korea. I think we all know how hard Asian kids seem to work at education. But they built a campus of about only 4 or 5 buildings, and they came to the United States, and they went to George Washington University, and they went to Loyola, and they went to Northwestern, and they say, why don't you guys come and teach some classes in South Korea to our students in South Korea? And you know what? They did. They have 7 American universities there in Incheon, in this whole new city. And those universities specialize in certain courses. They've done the same thing in Vietnam. My idea is, we get on this short list. When we get on the short list. When we get on the short list, I'm pledging to you that me and my team are going to go to Purdue, Northwestern, Notre Dame, Loyola, and we're going to say, let's build. We'll give you more land. We'll give you more land. Let's build a little campus around that library that we can dedicate and perhaps call the President Obama Global Forum Campus, where those schools can say that's where we're going to headquarter our school on studies of the poor, on sustainability, on, as he has often spoken about, distribution or sharing of wealth, those kinds of things. Those schools could all do that. Those schools that were to happen, the growth for and opportunities for your children will be second to none, because even if a child doesn't attend the university across the street, when they wake up every morning and they see the university across the street and they know there's potential, they know there's promise, they see other kids going, it lifts every bone in their body to say, I can do that too. I don't want to go there. I'm going to Santa Clara in California, but I want to go to university. So that's the next step. Right after the short list, we're going to convince these people, and I was told to start using this phrase, we have the land. Every other site, the minute the damn thing is built, is going to be out of land. They're going to be out of land. They won't be able to come up with the next big idea. They're going to be out of land. We have the land, and we will be generous with it. We will ensure that there is a campus around the library. And what happens around campuses? There'll be a little campus town. There'll be a campus town, there'll be apartments. There'll be a campus town, apartments, there'll be homes. There'll be businesses moved down and be close to the research and development. So it's not just a library, it's an entire commitment to the south side of Chicago, the southeast side of Chicago, to bring it into Chicago in the main. So your support is very, very important. With that, Ms. Suchi, do you want to talk a little bit about Mariana's?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. Good to see all of you. I know a lot of the faces here tonight. So you may have heard about a little press conference yesterday at Lakeside about a new grocery store coming to Lakeside. It's big news. I'm very excited. So we've been working with Bob Mariano's and his team, and as you know, he's really building a lot of grocery stores in Chicago. So we don't know the exact time frame right now, but we do have an agreement that he is committed to build a store at Lakeside. Over the course of 2014, we're going to be working on just planning and designs, and we hope to have the store up and built within 36 months, if possible. But that's kind of just a wide window. We will continually give you updates as we learn more information and have meetings regularly as we work towards what Dan said earlier, a CPA and Lakeside advisors, and we want to make sure everyone feels like they can have information updated at all times. So at this time, I think we should open it up for Q&A. Any questions anyone has in the audience tonight about the library at Lakeside or the new store or anything else? We have a few volunteers in the audience, Carlin, Joe, Shadian. If you have a card, you can use them, and I can answer the question. So bring it up to me, and then everyone can hear what the question is. First question, Michael? Hi, thank you, Michael. Question is property taxes and people being moved. It's a good question. We get this quite often. This development is meant to be a very long-term development, maybe 40 years or so. So we're really working at like a marathon pace. This is going to happen in phases. And as we get the first development in at Lakeside, you wouldn't see a reflection at the county level of appraisals or at the assessor level that fast. Over time, there would be a difference. But that would then result in many added benefits for the residents who live in Southeast Chicago. So we are mindful that this question comes up often. It is a Cook County issue with President Preckwinkle, but you're not going to see a huge shift in taxes right away. Plus, the Lakeside site has a tax increment financing district for the first phase, which would help move the project forward. Without that, we wouldn't be able to develop anything. So we get asked that question a lot, but you're not going to see a shift in property taxes immediately. And again, it is a long-term project. I hope that helps answer your question.
What do you mean immediately? I mean, what?
It's hard to say. I mean, we're going to be building for maybe 40 years or more. Maybe Dan can better answer that. I mean, we have to speculate. But it's not going to get 600 acres fully built out in 5 years. You know what I mean? It's going to be paced in over time. Already, you may see a few shifts. I know that the SSAs have been putting some additional services in the different areas in Southeast Chicago. We do know South Shore was repaved recently. All of it can maybe speak to this as well. So, again, give it a try.
It's the kind of question, I'm not trying to quote this lady, but it was kind of cute when I heard her say, put lipstick on a pig. Remember Sarah Palin said, trying to answer a question about taxes is like trying to put lipstick on a pig. I think taxes aren't in our control, we're not the only ones control, there's no one's control. And I'll be frank with you, taxes will go up. But hopefully, along with the taxes, so too does your quality of life, so too does crime go down, so too do opportunities for your children exist. So, I don't know when there's homesteading that is available for your tax dollar now, you can homestead, but it's foolish to say they will not go up. They probably will, but you've got a voice in your government, you can maybe do things on your own to help drive people to take your concern very seriously. Here's another question from Patrick Shaw. Are there any negotiations between Lakeside and the University of Chicago to combine the bids for the site? Well, negotiations is a strong word, but I'll tell you what I do. I'm a little bit of a rascal. I visit them all the time. And I brought them our bid book. And I said, look how beautiful. And their faces went scarlet. They couldn't believe the quality of what we presented. And I said, why don't we watch the video? And we watched the video. And they brought in another person into the room. And I got notes back saying, oh, that's so beautiful, so beautiful. I will tell you another little snippet. I took Bob Zimmer, the president of the University of Chicago, for a ride around the site. And I took him up, and then we went up to Rainbow Beach Park, came back down, and you know what he said? It's a beautiful thing, he said. Oh my God, this is beautiful, and I didn't know it existed. That's a quote. You're only 4 miles away. So I think they know, I've told them 100 times, that we're willing to partner, and I am damn sure that it's difficult for them, given their location, to stand up today and say they partner with us. But it's equally difficult for them to stand up today and say they won't. So that's where I'm putting my faith, is that one day they'll manage the politics around their own sites and they'll say we're going to the best site. That's what I think.
All right. Warren Davis. Hi, Warren. Can I showcase the video at my SouthsideExpo.com housing expo next Saturday, July 19th? Yes! Talk to us after. We'll get connected. Here's some good questions. Lisa Starks. Hi, Lisa. What are the plans for MBEWD participation, land ownership, business, and operation of job creation? Maybe Joe Williams can answer that question. Hi, Joe. Joe Williams is here from the Charter Group tonight.
Good evening, folks. How's everybody? Hey, listen, great question, Lisa. It actually will lead into my presentation this evening. That's why it's such a great question. Let me say a couple of things. One, before I answer the question, Lisa, I want to say one thing. I want to first of all acknowledge this team that we have up here. These guys have been working together for the last 5 or 6 years, and it's not only about the Obama Library, it's not only about Mariano's. This team has been fabulous for this community. I think you ought to give them all a round of applause. Secondly, I think that as we looked at this, you know, our position has always been that some type of economic opportunity, some type of potential community impact can occur. And I think that the value of the community, you are here in the audience, who have been at our other meetings, is that you've been willing partners with this great team. And I want to acknowledge each one of you, because actually, I don't think we would be here if everybody in this audience and other people who are not in this audience were not supportive and did not come forward for this project. So you ought to give yourself a hand, too. So again, when we start talking about opportunities, I'm always coming to the table and saying is that we're always trying to get the community positioned, so when these opportunities come, we're ready to react. And at every meeting that we've had over the last 5 years, we've been steadfast in trying to get everybody to get signed up. Now, we have some activities that are coming on. They're not still today, or they're not still tomorrow, but they're coming on. And I just want to keep stressing to everybody is that we're maintaining a database, and when we start talking about construction, the timetables for constructions, we start talking about the Marianas coming in and they're going to have jobs and they're going to be looking in the community for those jobs. We're trying to make sure that this community is prepared to respond with people in the community who have an interest of being involved. So as you came in today, and I just want to remind you that as you came in this, and we have both our business interest form outside, we also have our candidate referral form outside. So if you're a contractor looking for a contracting opportunity, or if you're an individual looking for a position or job in construction primarily, but in this form, it could also be for permanent jobs in retail, we need you to really fill it out. Now, again, we want you to fill it out. We want you to have your name in our database so we can use our database to continue to refer you for all these opportunities. It's really very important. I'm saying, well, maybe you have a job today, not a problem, but maybe you're looking for a job today, could be a problem because we don't have a job today. But at the end of the day, if you're not in the directory, whenever there is a job, we won't be able to call you and let you know. So what I would urge you again to think about is that to the extent that you have not signed up, and so many in this audience already have filled out these forms, and we haven't forgotten them, we have them, but if you've not filled out a form, whether you're interested in a job or you're interested in contracts, we really do stress to want to make sure that you fill it out, send it in. If you don't have to fill it out, give it right tonight, but if you want to, that's okay too. But at least you should fill it out and send it back to the address that's on the document. And also you should check the website. All of you should realize that Lakeside has had a website for now 5 years, and we update information on the website. And when you really want to know about what's going on the project, what's the current status, the website is the very best very best information source for you. To the extent it's there, to the extent that you know, I think that when we really get rolling, when we get starting, we see some of these developments coming into the community, we want to be there. We want to make sure that the community is there. Dan McCaffrey, all of them, Masucha, everybody wants to make sure that the community is there. So we're going to keep working this process to make sure that you're involved as we get these opportunities to come to the table.
Thank you, Joe. Very helpful. Fred Evans. Fred, hey Fred. CBA, are you including professional services, and will there be an oversight committee? So we've been working with both Alderman Holmes and Alderman Pope, and we know that there's a lot of interest in developing a community benefits agreement with Lakeside and the community. So to that end, we are organizing ourselves in the middle of also getting this Obama Presidential Library bid positioned where it needs to be. And we will be planning on holding an informational meeting in the next 6 weeks or so about what that means, what the process is, the pathway to an advisory, Lakeside Advisors, and what the pathway is to develop the CBA. We have not steered away from this, but we have been a little consumed with getting the submission in for the library, which is really important given the timeline that the foundation gave us. So you'll be hearing from your alderman about that. We will have a meeting. There will be probably some kind of board governing it. It has to be certified with the state. It will be a legitimate organization. So everybody in the southeast side can have a seat at the table and a voice. Yes?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I still didn't hear you respond to professional services. I hear retail, I hear contracting, I hear construction, but I don't hear accounting, legal, information technology.
Good question. Joe can answer that. Thank you for bringing it up.
This business interest form really is not, although we are focusing on construction type jobs and retail type jobs, this form is all inclusive. We not only think that there may be some professional service firms that we need to know about and add to our directory, but we're also very much interested in making sure that if there's anybody in this community that has an interest in being involved in any of these sites on a business basis, we want to know who that individual is also. So the form is all inclusive. It's not just, even though we may have focused on it this evening, it is an all-inclusive form. And if you send it back, as we get these professional service opportunities, and there will be professional service opportunities, we will let you know what those are, and how to access that opportunity.
And I should share that already we use the directory quite often. As we need services for Lakeside, we first consult the directory if we need any kind of service, so signs, extermination, whatever, we control, we have been using folks who have signed up and in the directory, it is working. So if you're in there, we will call you when we need you, and if you call us back, we can work together. If you're not in there, it's hard for us to find you. It's a big tract of land, so thank you for asking the question. Next question, I think Dan can answer these. Terry, University campus, is there room for city colleges and Chicago State? And then a second question from someone else, no name. I understand bringing big name colleges, but please include Chicago City colleges.
I'm so glad I got a statistic to throw back at you, because I didn't know a damn thing about city colleges. I don't, I'm ashamed to say it in a sense, but I found out a week ago Monday when I was not scolded, but coached by Mayor Emanuel, that city colleges have more people, students, than all of the other schools of higher learning put together. Amazing statistic. And the other thing is, he and the council have taken city colleges now and tried to go to a point where they each have a specialty. And the report that he gave me is astounding how it's working. So he was giving me one of these, don't forget city colleges. He said that's where the heart of our community is. Whereas at Northwestern and University of Chicago, you may have the hearts of a lot of other communities. But city colleges will be approached by us to be a part of that campus that I spoke about. And that's a promise. What was the other part? That's wonderful. And as for Chicago State also has expressed an interest in hosting the library. And again, we don't look on Chicago State, University of Chicago, any of the others as competitors. We look on the fact that we have the best site, that you guys are going to help us get it here. And once it's here, Chicago State, come on over, open up a classroom on our campus. Absolutely.
And Mr. McCaffrey, that was my question with no name. All about the city power.
Okay, good.
I forgot.
Thanks.
Bob Granger.